listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the No Nay Never podcast. It is Friday night, it's a preview show, and I am joined, of course, by the best viewing football, Dave Statman Roberts, our resident statistician, to give us all of the facts that we need to know ahead of this crucial home leg this coming weekend against Sunderland at Turf Moor. Dave, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it'd been better if we'd have got a result at Tottenham, but can't have everything.
We weren't going to get a result at Tottenham, were we? We really weren't. Well, listeners, that's a very good place to start, actually, because if you haven't listened to this week's analysis show, you should stop right now, go back an episode and listen to myself, Tom and George talk through that 3-0 defeat away at Spurs and what we thought could have been tweaked, or whether or not basically that's going to have any impact on whether the Clarets stay up this season. Cliffs, we don't, but there you go. While you're at it, do please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single episode of your favourite Clarets podcast. Dave, we're all ready. We're in August and we're already on a must-win situation, are we not?
Not really.
Oh, Dave, come on. Can I not get you this early in the season?
We need to be strong at home. We need to beat the teams that are likely to be in the bottom 5 or 6. So yes,
Sunderland.
a win against Sunderland would be very good indeed. But they had a fantastic result themselves last weekend at home to West Ham. Let's hope they're as dodgy on the road as we are.
Well, we were talking about this, and I think a couple of our No Nay Never team had a little bit of a wobble in our group chat and saying, I told you Sunderland, particularly poor Rich Steele, who said, you told me not to panic, and I told you Sunderland, we're not going to be... You know what? If we'd have played West Ham at the weekend, we would have probably won. And if Sunderland had played Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they would have got beaten 3-0 as well. So can we not panic? We're all right.
I'm not panicking.
We're not panicking. What have you got lined up for us in this week's preview show, Dave?
Oh, lots of stats, some memories of previous matches, referee information, you name it, we've got it.
Have we got some newspaper clippings?
We've got them as well, yeah, of course.
Excellent. Well, what we don't need to do this week, this is our first trial, actually, where we are putting the preview show just on YouTube for most of the season now, given the massive visual elements of the preview show. We've moved it away from the podcast. So for those of you who are joining us from our podcast channel, welcome. It's very nice to have you here. This is a visual show, so it's lovely to have you here. We'll see how this works. We might end up having to put it back on the podcast if we don't get as many listeners moving over to the previous show to watch on YouTube. But yeah, we'll be doing a visual one for the rest of the season. So welcome to all of our podcast listeners. Okay, Dave. Let's kick us off then. Let's make a start. We've been teasing our listeners often enough. You're going to kick us off, please, with some opening stats. What have you got for us?
This weekend, top flight football returns to Turf Moor once again. A mere 137 years since the dawn of the Football League. Long before we ever wore claret and blue, we were one of just 12 clubs in a single division as the English Football League got underway in early September 1888. Some of us still have to pinch ourselves as we play our 9th season at this level out of the last 12. Regular listeners and viewers will recall that we've already shared the stat this season about Burnley managing to win just under 1 in 5 of our away Premier League matches to date. As you might expect, our home record to date is slightly better than that, and a total of 54 wins from 171 previous Premier League home games is a win percentage of just over 31.6%, so just under 1 in 3. At the start of our first Premier League campaign, that was back in 2009-10, Sunderland were one of the teams to suffer defeat at Turf Moor as we won all of our first 4 home Premier League fixtures of that campaign. Although you will recall that we were unable to continue our impressive initial run of home form for the rest of that season.
I do remember that. It's a good, nice little warm-up ahead of this game, Dave. Well, we also got our team to have a bit of a preview of the Sunderland game. While we were sat down recording our reaction to the Spurs game, we asked Tom and George, I'd forgotten who was on the show this week, Tom and George, to let us know who they think should be in the starting lineup, what they think the Clarets will do in terms of formation. Will they stick with that 5 at the back, or will they go back to the 4-4-2 that served them so well last season? I'm going to hand over now, George and Tom. Let's see what they had to say. Okay, the weekend, Sunderland. Tom, massive game already, second game in. They started their season with a win, which is annoying. Albeit my point in our group chat was that I think if Sunderland went away to Spurs this weekend and we played West Ham, we would have won and they would have lost. But that's, that's just my opinion. It may never have happened. But what are you expecting from the game in terms of A, change in personnel, and B, change in tactics, please?
Yeah, I think, as George said, they've spent this money. They've built the squad up. It feels like a lot of momentum with them at the minute, and they've obviously had that fantastic opening win to go with it as well. But when you look at our fixture list, our first 8 games, this is the only one that really stands out to you as being particularly winnable. And we've seen the last 2 seasons we've been in the Premier League, not won a game until October, and we've gone down both times. And I dare say if we go to October without winning a game again this season, that's likely going to be the outcome again. So we really, really need these 3 points. And for that reason, I wouldn't be playing 5 at the back for this one. I'd be going back to 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 from last season. Walker at right back, as George said, maybe just giving us that little bit more going forward. He's certainly a better player than Sonner. I'd be slightly worried about Hartman in the back 4. You'd be needing whoever's playing on the left-hand side, probably Anton, just to be doing some doggies there, I think, or getting Cullen or Chugwu or whoever to come across and just cover that space. But for me, we need goals. We need to win this game. If we draw this game, it's going to be a missed opportunity just because of who we've got to come. If we lose this game, God forbid, then it's really there's still 36 games to go, and yet you're still struggling to see a roadmap back for us from there. So yeah, for me, we need to be on the front foot. We need to be playing 4 at the back in this one, and we need to be going for the win. And while they're a good side, Sunderland, they're not invulnerable. They're not AC Milan 90. They're not Real Madrid. So you like to think that there's a possibility we could win this game if we go for it. And in terms of personnel, it's difficult. We've got so many players in some positions and hardly any in others. And I don't know what wingers I'd play. I don't know what centre forwards I'd play. But I'd play some, and I'd be going for goals.
Yeah. George, do you agree with that? Do you have any different idea as to who we would play? Obviously, a lot of this depends on who's available, but what changes do you make from the side?
I agree with Tom. I'd certainly make the formation change. We're up against the team that we came up with from the Championship last season. There can be no room for being scared heading into this game, because as Tom says, we need the win. We don't have too many winnable fixtures coming up. Sunderland have all the momentum in the world. On Saturday morning, I got up for the Radio 5 Live, and they had me topping and tailing with a Sunderland fan, and she was absolutely buzzing, and rightfully so. Their first time in the top flight in 8 or 9 years. They've spent all this money. There's a real feel-good factor about them, and it just feels like they're on a real top of the momentum. They're at the top of the momentum curve coming up from the playoff final. You always get that bounce. And for me, we've got to put them in the place this weekend. We've got to be the ones to stem that confidence and that momentum. We really need to get our claws into them and start making our way up the league. Even though it's only the second game, obviously, but I can't see us getting too many points over the next few weeks. So, yeah, I'd like to see us go to the 4-2-3-1 formation, bring Leslie in, have him alongside Cullen. You have Hannibal in the 10, and then you bring in Edwards for the right wing, and then you've got Anthony on the left, because, yeah, we're definitely going to need some help with Hartman, but Anthony will do that legwork. And then up top, I'd start Fleming. Personally, I think we saw last season that Foster against a team that isn't necessarily all over us. I just don't see goals with him. I really don't. And I thought he put in a good performance on Saturday, did Foster, but I don't see goals there. Whereas Fleming's earned his chance. Fleming's earned his chance. So for me, I would start Fleming up top and bring Edwards in to play on that right wing.
Good. I agree with all of those things. That feels like a very lazy summarising thing to do, but yes, I agree. I concur with both of those things. Okay, Dave, moving on to the rest of our preview show then. Some headline highlights. Go on, take it away, Davido.
This season we're going to be looking back at a carefully chosen past Premier League match against each opponent, home and away, in a feature we're calling Headline Highlights. That's until Natalie wants to rename it back as Memory Match.
I give it till mid-September before it becomes Memory Match again. I'm trying, Dave. I'm trying.
Very trying, yeah. We really are spoilt for choice this week, with 2 home wins and a draw against Sunderland out of 3 previous Premier League meetings at Turf Moor between the 2 clubs, as well as a goalless draw in September 2014. We were 3-1 winners in September 2009, as we mentioned already at the top of the show. But this week, the match we've chosen took place on New Year's Eve 2016. And it was, a very memorable match. Burnley were very big winners in the end. And the Burnley Express went with the headline, Andre the Giant slays Sunderland at Turf. There's actually a match section on the front. Andre sinks the Black Cats. And then when we move on to the actual on the actual match report, the detailed match report that was in there.
Where am I looking, Dave? Am I still on this? There we are. Is that what I'm looking at?
No, you want the one after that.
So we want this one.
And again.
Look at this, Dave. You might want to start numbering these. There we are.
They are numbered.
Andre the Giant slays.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all numbered. Yes, Andre the Giant slays Sunderland at Turf. Andre Gray with the match ball pictured there in the match report. He scored a hat-trick in the very, very good victory we had there. He was actually the first Burnley player to score a Premier League hat-trick. Obviously, we had lots of players who scored top-flight hat-tricks, but he was the first one in the Premier League era to do so.
Yeah.
And the other goal scorer was Ashley Barnes. He scored a penalty to make it 4-0 before Jermaine Defoe scored a consolation goal for the Black Cats. Well, a very good win. Moving on, we had the Lancashire Telegraph on the next image. Their headline was "Dream Year ends in perfect fashion." We'd obviously been promoted to the Premier League and had a reasonable start to the campaign with some decent results in there. And then finally, we've got a piece from, I think it's the Independent again. Gray inspires Burnley to rout of woeful Black Cats, and then a picture of him running away after he scored his 3rd goal, holding up 3 fingers to indicate that he scored a hat-trick. And desolate Sunderland fans in white in the background. Really good game for Burnley, and fantastic on New Year's Eve before everyone's celebrations.
Excellent stuff. Well, that kind of worked. We'll have a bit of a practice, listeners, next week when we figure
You'll have
out
a practice
to put these visuals on. But you get the gist. We've got some newspaper cuttings. But yeah, I think, you know what, listeners? Do we think this is better? I think this is better. I think we do this one. But I think we do it like this. What do we think, Dave? We put it in full colour.
If you like, yeah. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes sense. So there you go, listeners. By the preview show for the United game, Dave and I are this slick as anything. What's not to love about a little bit of chaos in the preview show? Okay, Dave, I believe you've got some referee information for us as well, please.
We have, yeah. It's usually announced at the start of the week. Unlike the opening weekend of the season, Burnley have won more matches than we've lost with this week's referee in charge, which we certainly couldn't say last week. Preston-based official Michael Salisbury has taken charge of 5 previous matches involving the Clarets. Despite a couple of defeats, they were at home to Aston Villa in his one previous Premier League match of ours in August 2023, as well as at Everton in the League Cup in November 2023. The other 3 occasions were all Burnley wins, although all 3 of those were at Championship level. The one and only red card is shown in his 5 previous Burnley matches was brandished as an opposition player. That was Sheffield United's Wes Fodringham back in April 2023. And the video assistant referee this weekend, but please don't get me started on that subject, is John Brooks.
Okay, listeners, well, you know the drill by now. You know full well that Dave Statman Roberts has got a fantastic bank of stats, information, facts, everything that you need to know. Dave, let's talk us through this graphic. Where can the listeners find your information from?
There's a menu page. We've got a short link for it, which is bit.ly/Burnley Stats QL. That's bit.ly/Burnley Stats QL. That takes you to the menu page, and then you can see a selection of the reports that are on there, the main ones, including a new one I've set up, which is the BFC News Finder, bit.ly BFC News Finder, all in uppercase. And that's where all the headlines are. And it's basically my attempt to pull together a Burnley scrapbook. So I'm working my way back through the newspaper archives, trying to get as many match reports and other pre-match information, Burnley articles as I possibly can. Unfortunately, I've only got about 17,000 so far, so I'm trying to get that number up a little bit.
Just those, just the 14,000, just the 14,000. We'll do drop Dave a quick follow on his social media, on his Blue Sky account now. He's come off Twitter, and check out that website if you're a bit of a Burnley anorak and do love to see those stats and facts.
Oh, at this point, I did want to say a thank you actually to a no nay never listener who'd been in touch, given a donation to me in terms of the website I've got set up. There is a link on there, and I've used donations I've got to pay for the newspaper subscription. So that was really kind of him to do that.
Are we name checking, or are we?
William. Thank you, William.
Thank you, William. That's really, really kind of you, and saves me having to pay for Dave's subscription. So I'm very grateful. On a personal level, that's really, really great. Well, we're going to finish off this week's preview show, Dave, with some score predictions, both from yourself and from the team. I'm going to head over to the wider known and never to the analysis show team first to get Tom and George's score predictions. So you hold on there while we jump over to them. Give me a score prediction then, please, Tom. How do you think we'll do?
God, I feel like I'm going to come across very negative here. My heart says we'll win 2-1, and my head says we're probably going to lose. It feels like we're going to lose, to be honest. Maybe I've just been browbeaten by all the jubilation of the Sunderland fans on the internet, but I'm trepidatious going into this game. But having said that, like I say, like George said, we can't afford to be on the pitch. We need to be, and in the stands as well. We need to be out and we need to be full voice. And if we are, and we get the first goal, we'll win 2-1.
Excellent. George, score prediction from you?
I think it'll be 1-0 Burnley. I think, like Tom says, Sunderland have got a lot of momentum right now, and I'm pretty scared about this game. You look at their team on Saturday, and it were miles above what we had. The quality they had on the pitch. I know West Ham are poor, but they had a lot of quality, did Sunderland, and they played very well. And for me, I look at that team and I think they can cause us and many teams problems this season. But we can't afford to go into the game with that mindset. And if we do get the first goal, our back us. You know, we were so defensively sound last year. We know how to operate that 4-2-3-1 formation to limit the opposition's chances. And we've got to hope that we can, edge a 1-0 win and just get ourselves on the board.
Excellent stuff. Dave, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go for a Burnley win, and I think we're going to win 2-1.
I am also going for a Burnley win, and I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 as well. Listeners, you know the drill by now. We want your score predictions, please. Can you drop them in the comments underneath this video, or drop us a line on any of the social media channels? Let us know who you think is going to score, what the final score will be, and what the result will be. Will it be the first win for the Clarets of this new season? Okay, Dave, any other business? What have we got to talk? Well, we've got quite a big talking point, I think, ahead of this game, haven't we?
Yeah, there's been a few changes with traffic flow before and after the game. So whereas Burnley fans would quite often, a lot of Burnley fans would come down the road just to the side of the cricket field, the cricket club, so should I say. There's like a fence and a wall. It's Ormerod Yard, it's called. Home fans are no longer able to do that, certainly for this game. It's going to be for away fans only before and after the game, which forces pretty much all Burnley fans in the long side and also in the B hole to go round past the club shop. So it's going to be a little bit of a bottleneck on that corner. I know quite a lot of fans from those stands will already go around that way. With everyone having to go around that way, it's going to be rather busy on the corner by the club shop, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it is going to be. So hopefully the disruptions won't be too bad for the fans that do sit around that part of the stadium. And we've just got to try and obviously appreciate that when it's all finished, it's going to be a much improved and much needed improvements to that cricket field, and the fan experience down there is going to be a much better. So fingers crossed it'll be short-term pain. Another quick shout out from us as well. We are the Royal Daesh has set up a pitch with some of the old Turf Moor seats in the back beer garden, and their very own little Turf Moor. They've been selling seats this week, and none and ever have purchased one. I say this, Tom Whittaker purchased one and basically just sent me a message going, Natalie, we need to pay for a seat. So Tom bought us a seat. I had to pay for it, and there you go, it's gone. So none and ever have got themselves one. If you are in the Royal Dash this weekend, go and check that out and go and have a pint and sit on none and ever's seat and take us a picture. Our little logo will be on there. It'll be really, really nice to see everybody sat on that one and enjoying some pre-match enthusiasm and entertainment at the Royal Dash. Dave, anything else from you before we wrap up this preview show?
No, I think we've packed enough in there already, haven't we?
We have. It's been a big one this week, which is a good thing. Well, my thanks as ever go to everybody who has contributed into making this preview show. None more so than the best view in football himself, Dave. Your work that you put into this preview show is just selfless and very much appreciated. So thank you as ever for your work here. To George and to Tom, to producer Matt, to everybody else in the Analysis Show team who works behind the scenes to give us our content. But mainly to you, the listener, for downloading and listening to this episode. Your support is very much appreciated, and we would not be here without you. The team will be back Monday or Tuesday next week, looking back on that Sunderland game with the Analysis Show. And Dave and I will be back next Friday night with another episode of the preview show, looking forward to an away fixture at Old Trafford. Let's hope it doesn't rain. This has been the preview show brought to you by the No Nay Never podcast. Until next time.
The No Nay Never podcast is brought to you in association with the TalkSport Fan Network. Our host and editor is Natalie Bromley, and the show is produced by Matt Moss. Our resident statistician is Dave Roberts, and our FPL expert is Adam Dennett. The Analysis Show team is collectively Tom Whittaker, Rich Steele, George Poole, Charlotte Rigby and Adam Dennett. Our music is provided by George Gaskell, and our newsletter team is headed up by Jamie Smith. If you don't already, you can subscribe to our newsletter by visiting nonaynever.substack.com. Thanks as ever go to our partners TalkSport. We are proud to be associated with the TalkSport Fan Network.